would now like to invite John to say a few words and to share a little bit of the journey for us this evening.
2009. That was a wee time ago. So, good evening. I might say that I'm quite nervous being up here. You can probably hear it in my voice jittering a little bit. And if I forget my words or indeed stumble, bear with me, please. So as said, I'm John Darlington, as I was introduced, and thank you very much for that incredible award. It's a wonderful award. And thank you very much for having me here tonight to hand out additional awards. Now, as said, I work as a doctor. I work as an emergency medicine ACCS doctor, which means I rotate through anaesthetics, critical care, and also acute medicine, and then go on to become an emergency medicine consultant. Currently, I work in critical care in the east of Scotland. Now, I say this because, as a doctor, you'd have thought that I smashed school. You'd have thought that I was a grade A student, that I had lots of extracurricular activities under my belt, that I was the head of multiple sports teams, and an all-round good guy. But actually, by many measurements, I was a bit of a failure at school. I had quite a difficult childhood and a difficult adolescence, and that had a significant impact on my schooling career. I had an 8% attendance rate one year, and when I was at school, I was seldom late in class. You'd find me wandering the corridors or wandering around outside. Mr. Angus there caught me multiple times wandering around, and I had some incredible excuses, some that I still use to this day when I try to get out of work. Jokes, no one's listening. Yeah, so it was a difficult school career, and as you can imagine, that had an impact on my school grades. There was a lot going on as an adolescent, and of course, that eventually got so difficult for some of my things that I ended up getting placed into what we call a young person's unit for some 6 to 8 months. And in all honesty, they were some of the hardest months of my life. And coming back and trying to reintegrate back into school was incredibly difficult. 6 to 8 months is a long period of time, especially as a young teenager. It's even longer. Trust me, as you get older, it doesn't feel as long. So it was very difficult trying to integrate back in. I missed key educational parts, and importantly, I'd also missed key social parts. And as such, I was actually quite lonely when I came back to school. And of course, as it is, as an adolescent, when you're going through a bit of a difficult time, you can end up with a bit of a target on your forehead. And unfortunately, I was no different, and some people took advantage of that, which made life just that little bit more challenging. And also, as it is when you're young, and as an adult and things are hard, you can act out a wee bit. And of course, I was no different in that either. So I started getting in a little bit more trouble. Now, I certainly wasn't the worst pupil at school by any means, but actually out of school I started getting into more trouble, and actually got in trouble with the police a few times. My trajectory was not looking fantastic by any means. It was suggested by the school that I should perhaps think about leaving, exiting out the fourth year. But, to my dismay, I hadn't invested any time or energy into any of the trades, something I deeply regret. And of course, I wasn't interested in doing some college course that I would undoubtedly fail and have to spend ages on the bus getting to. And I certainly wasn't interested in doing some job that I was have to get up early for that wouldn't interest me. So I pleaded with the school. I put out the sympathy card, if I'm honest, and they let me stay on. So I went on to sit intermediate twos, as you said, and actually I went on to fail quite a few of them or not get very good grades. The only one that I actually did get a good grade in was English. I got a B, which is quite ironic, because it's probably one of my worst subjects, as you can hear as I'm trying to speak to you right now. But I went along. The other subjects I got into were ones that needed filling. There was one called Managing Environmental Resources. It was a brand new subject. It had nobody in it. And so, there you go, John Boy, you can take that one. So I did that. One of the few friends that I made during my school time was going to university. And he went to an open day, so I went along. I chummed him along. Nobody says chum anymore, sorry. Yeah. So I chummed him along, it was all good. And I got a vibe. I got to see what university was actually about. Good-looking girls, parties, and alcohol. I wanted to go to university. The problem is, to get into uni, you need grades. And I didn't have grades. But it just so happened when I was at this open day, I was speaking to a lady called Evelyn Weir, who happened to be one of the senior lecturers. I didn't know that at the time. And she said, look, there is this thing called widening participation access. For people like you who maybe, had a bit of a rough ride and what have you, and haven't achieved quite what you're maybe capable of. So, we went down this route. And in all honesty, guys, the benchmark for me was set significantly lower to get into a course. I didn't need to get the same grades as everyone else, as my classmates later found out and were really quite annoyed about. And so, I had a goal. And for the first time ever, I applied myself. For the first time ever, I actually worked hard. And unbelievably, I got those requirements. Albeit significantly lower than what was for my peers, but I got in. I was going to uni. Good-looking girls, partying, alcohol, alright. I didn't have a clue what I was doing. I truly did not know what I was doing. I didn't know anything about the course. In fact, the girl who would later go on to become my wife messaged me. She messaged me first, by the way, just to make that clear. She messaged me. She said, look, you're looking forward to the course, you're looking forward to this, you're looking forward to X, Y, and Z. I didn't know anything about X, Y, and Z. I was just more interested in chatting her up. It worked, by the way. And I honestly had no idea what I was doing. I thought I'd be there for a maximum of 2 years, because you can fail first year and then resit it. And I thought after that, they'll definitely know I'm an idiot, and they'll kick me out. First exam comes up, physiology. Now listen, I've always had a bit of an interest in chemistry and biology, as you would probably expect from someone who went on to become a doctor. But I'd been asked to leave my biology class, and I failed into chemistry. I was out my depth, yeah? Unbelievably, I got an A. Now that might not sound particularly impressive, but for me that was huge. This demonstrated that maybe, just maybe, I was capable, just maybe, I was able. Perhaps my lateral thinking and questioning nature wasn't completely useless and might be helpful. Told you I have to slur my words. Anyway, so that set me on a trend. And I started doing quite well in this course. In fact, I started doing very well. And near the end, I thought, do you know what? I'd like to be a doctor. Now that was truly laughable, and indeed it was actually laughed at by multiple people, some to my face. Because although I was doing very well in this course, I had none of the usual requirements. I had none of the backing, and I had all this baggage that was carrying with me, including being in trouble in the past. So I reached out to every single medical school in the country. It's absolutely true. In fact, even some abroad, and said, look, this is my situation. Is there any chance you'd take an application from me? And it's tough, because obviously I'd be applying as a postgraduate now. And in medicine, somewhere between 20 and 40% of those who apply to medicine are postgraduates. So I'd be competing against these guys who've done biomedical sciences, chemistry, some had masters, some even had PhDs. And then there's me, who's not even got his degree yet and hasn't done chemistry. And the universities replied back almost unanimously saying, no, don't even send us an application. In fact, some of them were quite harsh. And this scrumpled up piece of paper, which was my notes, had some of the quotes that were written out in them, which I looked up. And it said things such as, unfortunately, you're not the calibre of individual that we would usually accept an applicant from. It does nobody any favours to encourage people such as yourself to apply, and etc., etc. But I didn't listen to the naysayers. Where they said no because of X, Y, and Z, I heard, yes, you just need to do X, Y, and Z. And so I set out. I put in hard work, and indeed with encouragement from some of those most closest to me, including the beautiful girl who would go on to be my wife, who said, you know what, you can do it. And indeed, with a little bit of luck, I did apply to medical school. And eventually, as you gathered, I got in. So then I was hit with the next big thing. And now I'm in medical school, because I got in by the skin of my teeth, by the way. And I thought to myself, when I'm in medical school, I'm surrounded by all these incredible students who have done incredible things. And there are the people who had all the extracurricular activities, are the people who are the heads of the sports team, are the all-round good guys, and then there's me, who barely knows what a hydrogen is, and is about to do acid-based physiology of the renal system. What? I'm way out of my league. I don't know what I'm doing. But again, with hard work, I actually went on to do really well in medical school, and then eventually got into a competitive foundation program, and then into a competitive higher specialist training in a competitive area, and continue to do, I hope, well. Now listen, I'm not up here to tell you that oh hey, I did great and all was wonderful, because actually, still a lot of work and I'm still changing my trajectory. But there's 5 key things that I've learned thus far on my journey, which I'd love to share with you guys who are embarking new chapters of their lives, stepping up in school, and indeed, anyone in the audience who's even listening who feels like their trajectory is not where they planned it, perhaps wanted, or indeed anybody here who's just wanted a little bit more from their life. So the first big thing that I learned, which was the spark, was that you're human. Now you might think, yeah, I know I'm human, but listen, you're literally one of the most incredible things that exist. Out of everything that we know about in the universe, perhaps the most complicated thing is lodged between your 2 ears, the human brain. What you are capable of is literally out of this world. Now, as humans, we give ourselves a bad rap. We say we pollute the planet, we cause wars, we hurt each other. These things are true. We do bad things. But we also do absolutely phenomenal things. We've looked at the natural order of the world and said that's not good enough. We've looked at preventable disease and said, well, that sucks, let's create penicillin. We've looked at travelling and said, you know what, walking everywhere is difficult. Create the car. Now we literally have spaceships which are investigating other planets. You are part of the species that is able. Number 2, fail well. Sounds a bit dour, but the reality is you're going to fail at some point, and it's going to suck. There's never a good time to fail either. You will always put hard work in, effort, time, perhaps even money. It will always have a sting. But how you fail and how you manage your failure is how you will manage success. So fail well. It's just part of the learning process. It's just part of the journey. So fail well. Number 3, work hard. There is no substitute to working hard. It's the backbone of your success. Everything you do in life can be overcome with hard work. For all these incredible students here who are reaching out to do their next thing, right? You might not think that you're the most talented person for the job, and the harsh reality is, you might not be. You might not think you're the most able person, the harsh reality is, you might not be. But this can all be overcome by hard work. There's an incredible book called Bounce by a man called Matthew Seah. And he looked at all the big household names, from sports stars to academics to businessmen, and he said, what was the defining feature amongst these people? What separated them from the rest? And it was the talent of working hard. So have the talent of working hard and you build your success. Number 4, be kind to everyone. Respect everyone and presume that everyone you speak to has something to tell you that you don't know. And that way, you will not only gain further knowledge and build your influence, but you'll also provide the road tracks, which will build bridges. Okay? And that will be not all that muddled up. What I was trying to say is, it will build bridges, which will be part of the road to your success. So be kind and be respectful to everyone. And number 5, which is perhaps one of the most biggest and most guidance thing in my life that I would really love, if you hear anything, to take this away. And it needs the other 4 in place for it to be applicable. And that is to aim high and hit high. Don't accept mediocre, don't accept average, don't accept just good. Aim as high as you possibly can. And everything that you do, whether that's your career, whether that's business, whether that's your sport endeavours, whether that's your life partner, whatever it is, aim as high as you can aim. And that way, if you aim there and you don't hit your direct target, you still hit high and be a success. So these 5 things that I've learned, as I said, number 1, which was recognize that you're human and you're absolutely incredible. That is the spark towards your success. Number 2, fail well. How you fail will be how you succeed. Number 3, work hard. It's the backbone towards your success. Number 4, be kind to everyone, show respect to everyone. And number 5, aim high, hit high. Thank you.